Welcome back to Coffee, Chaos, and Cash Flow. Today, we are joined by Zan Omlor. She is a business scaling expert who went from solo parent in debt to multi-millionaire by cracking the code on organic marketing, and now helps other coaches and elite CEOs create the same transformational growth. Zan, great to have you today. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How are you guys?
Greetings.
Yeah, doing well. Busy, busy, busy. It's a wild day today. I feel we're only like 4 hours in, and I feel like I've had 3 full work days in it. So we're cruising.
Yeah, that's me yesterday.
Quite a week. All right, so real quick, couple of fun icebreakers. I'm this was actually submitted by my children. They came up with this. Does your current car have a name? And if so, what is it?
Okay, that is so funny because Tesla actually has a thing where you name the car, and we went through so many names, and we usually do name our cars, but we put it off and put it off. So we never officially agreed, me and my daughters, on a name for the Tesla. So we're like, is it going to be Tessie? I said, oh no. So we went through it all. So officially, the car is unnamed. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yes.
My kids asked that because all of our cars have had names. I've never been the one to do that, but apparently that's
a thing. I had
like
named
that,
every other car.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
my sister named my Jeep, and we named her Old Betsy. Named her Old Betsy for a while.
Nice.
So
That's great.
I haven't named
That's
the current
great.
one though.
We got some good stuff here, though. Eric, do you have? Why don't you lead us off with what you've got, and then I'll chime in here. Got a bunch
Sure.
of stuff to ask too.
Your story includes this idea of anything is possible. So, which you can trace back to your parents moving you and your 9 siblings across the world. How did that specific drastic experience forge this belief that anything is possible?
Well, it's something that I realized later on because I looked back and I thought, wow, at the time we just did it. So we're going to move to Australia. Okay. Hey kids, here's a book on Australia. And he's like, here's kangaroos, literally one book, like a picture book. And there's some kangaroos and there's some koalas. Okay. That's it. Now you're educated about Australia. Now we're going. Okay. And this is way, I mean, I'm going to, show my age. It was in 1971. So we were like, oh, what's Australia? And they didn't have a lot of time to educate us because they were just busy like getting ready to move. But here's a book. And there's kangaroos. Okay, there's koalas. We thought, great, there's going to be kangaroos hopping down the street. But I digress. They were not. They do hop down the street like in country towns. You'll see that. But, okay, we did that. And I think that later on, I realized, okay, so normal people don't move 10 kids and their wife to, I'm not saying my dad was abnormal, but, he was extraordinary. You're living in the same, and I said to my dad once, I said, hey dad, so why did you decide, this is when I was older, what made you decide to move us all to Australia? And my dad would say, some people are born on Haymarket Street in London. He goes, and some people, they stay on Haymarket Street, they work on Haymarket Streets, they play on Haymarket Streets, they go to school maybe, they get married on Haymarket Street, they have families, and they never leave Haymarket Street in London. Now, I don't know why I used London as an example, but that was an example. And he said, I did not. He said, and I did not want to stay on Haymarket Street all my life. And I thought, wow, I just got goosebumps. Little did he know, he was enforcing in me, yeah, I'm an adventurer. I thought, great, sounds amazing. I don't want to be on Haymarket Street either. So when I left, when I was leaving home, it was the worst thing that ever happened. One of the worst things that ever happened to him was when I left home because we were very close. He's like, what? You're leaving? And my mom's like, what? You're letting her go? And he goes, well, I can't lock her in her room. She can do what she wants, but he was not happy. And he said, why do you have to leave? And I said, Dad, some people are born on Haymarket Street. And that was all I said. And he groaned because he thought, oh no, I've created a monster.
Oh, right? That's great.
That was the simplest way to put it. And he went, oh. I didn't have to finish the story. So I think that
It's awesome.
it's a big thing to move a whole family to a foreign country. And there's very little information then. There's no internet. There was nothing. It was like, we're going there.
It's
And then
true.
we knew one family that had moved there. And believe it or not, this family was the Gibson family, as in Mel Gibson. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
My dad and his dad knew
Okay.
each other prior, just by
Wow.
people. And so we met the Gibson family like way before Mel was a star. Okay. Which is
That's
quite
wild.
funny that because they were American. I don't know if you knew that originally. Mel was American.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they grew up in Australia. So that was the funny thing, that our one contact was the Gibson family.
That's awesome.
Pre everything.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty neat. So I'm going from there. I'm going to kind of come into some of what you're doing right now, but along the way, kind of progressing into your background a little bit. You talk a lot about being a 50-year-old solo parent in deep debt before you really turn things around. So I'd like to know if you can paint a picture of what that before moment would have felt like, right? And what was the thing that happened that made you say, okay, this is enough, I'm done with that, and like got you moving? What was the catalyst there?
Okay, so let's just, let you know there's a period when I first started my coaching business when I was, well, let me see, 13 years ago. What is that? 47? Yeah, 47. Okay. Thinking, oh my goodness, I better do something. The first panic, get started. Then, stuff happened, and the next crisis, 8 years later, I was 54 actually. And I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm in deep, deep debt. This market is not my market. I was in the Midwest, and that was just not my market. And I thought, wow, deep debt, 2 kids, I'm failing. They're going to know it soon. What do? I've got to fix this. I'm 54. I can't wait, because then I'm 55, 56, 60. My life's over. So I better do things now. So that was like urgency. I've got to do it now. And I've just got to make this happen. It was complete panic. I mean, I was kind of holding it together, but I was interiorly panicking, because still taking care of my kids. But there was this deep, that interior panic and anxiety that people seem okay. But, just under the surface, there's this like, so I had to keep that, like this. But I thought, I need to do something, and it has to be big. And I've got to get online, and I've got to figure out. I thought it was the ads I needed to figure out, but it turned out it wasn't the ads. Turned out ads weren't going to work for me. Turns out that I needed to figure out organic social media marketing, which I didn't even know what that was. And when I discovered what it was, I thought, okay, hallelujah. My mind exploded. That was even possible. And I thought, I've got to be the expert at this. So I did. That's it. I had my mission. Then I thought, that's it. I got to get so good at this. That's it. I'm going to be the best person at this. That was my mission. And I did whatever it took. I mean, voracious, relentless activity to figure this out, because I had a mission. But I was really glad I finally had the mission. I thought, this is good. Work cut out, dog with a bone, go get it. Was it hard? Yes. Was it really stressful? Yes. I was having panic attacks. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? And it was really stressful. And I remember I was in the middle of this program, and it was summer, and I want my kids always to have a summer. So I took them to a camp and put them in. I thought, thank goodness I got a co-working space while they were in camp, and I just could work for a week, And then after, I thought, gee, we're already out and about. So we'd already driven from Cincinnati to Omaha. And I thought, oh, we're out and about. I should give my kids some sort of road trip. And then we were invited to go visit some people in Denver. So we drove there, and I was kind of like, I should be doing the work. And I thought, we're not so far from New Mexico. I texted my cousin. I said, hey, you want us to go? And sure. So we drove to New Mexico, and I was in a hotel room. My kids were sleeping. I literally had a legit panic attack. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I'm spending more, because, road trips aren't cheap, right? And I'm just thinking, this isn't yet working. What am I going to do? And I just started to panic. I texted a colleague, and I said, I am legitimately having a panic attack here. And he said, look, chill out. He said, it's 3 days more, right? I said, yeah, 3 or 4. He goes, it's only 4 days in your life. It's only 4 days in your life. I said, okay. He said, just try to have a good. So I did. I thought, that's it. I'm going to have a good time. I put it aside, spent time with my cousins, showed my kids New Mexico. My mother was from there, and it was really special. I actually took my kids into my mother's home where she lived when she was growing up, and everything was still there. Like, that's insane.
Wow.
It's still there, because it's just like kind of abandoned. We can get in, and my kids' minds were blown. I'm like, oh, there's the furniture Grandma used to use, and like just was there. So that was meaningful. I thought, I've got to put that aside. So did that, got back. I got back to work. And that's when it started working. And I was like, phew, it's like I dodged a bullet. So what was it like? Sheer panic. That's what it was like. Sheer panic, anxiety, fear, panic attacks. I got to make this work. So, and I do get all that. It's not like, oh, and I did this and happened. And the way people tell their stories, I'm like, wow, you didn't go through sheer panic and anxiety and dying and no sleep and this has got to work. That's what it was like. It was not fun. But when I finally cracked the code and I got that first client, I started crying and I ran out to my kids and I said, I got a client. I figured this out. I cracked the code. We all started dancing around the house. So I remember that. They're like, Mom, yay. Because they saw me like suffering. They're like, Mom's just working nonstop. And she's like, she's not showering every day. Like it was like one year in college. I'll admit it. I was not, I was just like working so much. Like Mom didn't shower like for 3 days. What's going on?
Oh, gosh.
So, phew, it was, I really feel like I dodged a bullet. That's how I feel.
What for people who aren't in the marketing space, can you just do a quick definition of what organic marketing is? Like define that a little bit so maybe people, if you no idea roughly what marketing is as a broad category, organic specifically, and why that was something that you really dialed in on.
Okay, so there's 2 ways. It's very simple. There's paid advertising. So that's not organic. You're paying for it. So you're paying for something is not organic. It's paid advertising. Organic is free outreach, not advertising, but free marketing. So instead of me running Facebook ads, I figured out how to get clients just by being on the Facebook platform. Organic, meaning just by conversations, content, and no placement of ads that people are clicking in funnels and booking a call. So it's relationship based, conversation and content based marketing, which is free.
Okay.
And when I heard it was free, I thought, well, that's good for me. Free's good. And a lot of people, the ads don't work for everybody. Ads I don't know if you know this, Facebook ads, they've gone up 40% and they're producing 20% fewer results. So the inflation with ads is
for social?
Yeah. Sorry, for ads.
Okay.
Ads. Like Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Okay, so all advertising, I forget the number but Google's the same and Instagram, they're all the same in the sense they're more expensive and they work less well on purpose because they keep shifting the algorithm so it just doesn't work. Ads, if they wanted to, they could just they could just flick a switch and make them all work again, but they're making us, do all sorts of stuff it's ridiculous. It's a game. So I don't have that. We have a very sustainable profit business. There's a profit squeeze going on in all industries right now. Okay. There's profit squeeze going on with restaurants because food is so much more expensive. People are like, why is the steak double? Well, because we're paying double. Housing, materials, labor, everything. There's a profit squeeze. I did not suffer that because I'm not paying for ads. There's the same exact profit, which is, I'm very proud of that I've created a model for a very sustainable, high profit business that is not privy to algorithm changes, ad spend going up, labor, materials cost, food, or whatever it is that people are paying for. It is immune to that.
So can you tell us a little bit about for someone who might want to get started or someone who would want to figure out how to utilize the Facebook platform or other platforms like it, what would be something that what would be something today that they could do or start on?
Well, first of all, Facebook is a lot harder now to get clients on because they changed everything on there. Like you're not allowed to add as many people. You get blocked right, left, and center. When I was on Facebook 6 years ago, we added 775 people in one day once as leads, and we didn't get blocked. Now you add I just thought this is
crazy.
I remember thinking this is before, you see what happened was if you did that on a desktop 6 years ago, you get blocked, legit. They hadn't figured out how to control their phone app yet. They hadn't gotten that far. So on the phone app, you could add as many. We added in 3 hours, 775 targeted leads. And I had 775 leads for free within 2 hours. And I remember thinking, this is so amazing. This will not last. So take advantage. And of course it didn't last because I knew they were going to catch up and start blocking. But I figured out the phone worked better than and I could just do whatever I want. But go on the desktop, you're blocked because they could control that.
Yep.
Now they can control all. They weren't there yet with their AI. Okay. Instagram used to be a lot easier as well. But now Instagram blocks a lot more than ever. you add one person and you send a message, you cannot send another one unless they actually write back to you. So you can't follow up. So what's really working right now, if your offer matches that, is LinkedIn works better, actually. Easiest way to get clients. Very easy. And it's not as business as it used to be. People they're misunderstanding LinkedIn. LinkedIn has over the years become more cool, and you got all sorts of people on LinkedIn. It's not just, business people. So basically the very, very first thing people have to do before they get on and get all excited about stuff, literally the first thing people need to do, and I said this to people at this event I was at. Oh, I think I'm going to write a book. I think I'm going to do a TEDx talk. Do you have an offer? Oh, no, I don't. No, actually what you do need is you need an offer. You need something to sell before you go do all this stuff, which is undefined and very unclear why, right? It's just, shiny object. Well, this guy said he's going to help me do a TEDx talk, but why? You don't have an offer. You have nothing to sell. So why do a TEDx talk? There's no funnel, there. And why write a book? You don't even have an offer. So please, people, take a chill pill and create an offer. Now, that sounds really easy. We help people do this because it's actually not easy. To create an offer that's going to have legs, I know how to do that because I've done 600 of those and I know the market. I know instinctively what's going to work. But if you don't want to hire a coach, great, don't. But I believe, and I hired coaches immediately when I start anything, you must get help, because if you don't, you're just, I call it marketing in the dark. You don't know what you're doing with no data. You don't know what you're doing if somebody says, hey, Zan, I know how to do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, great. Can I pay you some money so I can learn that? Instead of, I'm glad you know how to do that. Let me go try to figure out myself what you're doing and guess and spend years. It's not intelligent.
Right.
It's not intelligent at all. But that is a poverty mindset. Instead of, like, I'll pay so much money just to get that one thing I'm missing, because I know that's the key that's going to open that door, instead of peeking through the keyhole. But a lot of people are going to be like, no, I'm just going to peek through the keyhole and get a part of the scene because they don't want to pay. You see, people that don't want to invest are never going to be highly successful, ever.
Yeah.
Really.
Exactly.
And
right.
so I want to kind of dive into that a little bit on like maybe a somewhat psychological level. Do you think that the people who are resistant to that kind of investment, are they generally people who've been kind of insulated from a lot of struggle, and maybe they're, I don't know. I think of like your story is similar to mine. It's like we've done a lot of really, really hard stuff to get somewhere where it's like, okay, hey, finally the hill seems, the boulder seems to be kind of over the hill now.
Yes.
And so crazy, even wild ideas don't seem that wild anymore when you've done a lot of stuff to make something work.
Yes.
And I'm curious if people that are hesitant, are they a little bit too insulated from that kind of experience where they had to do a lot of stuff? Yeah, risk. What is it that's just like makes people...
It's risk or laziness or not believing in themselves.
Yeah, I think that Eric's right. It's not one thing. It's not like, I don't think things are that simple. It's like, that's the one reason. I mean, there's a variety of reasons. It's always fear. It's always fear of spending money or ignorance or naivete that you can, I've heard people say to me, well, yeah, I want to get my business to $1 million. Like, great. So how are you going to do that? I'm just going to figure that out on my own. I said, okay, I'm going to do you a favor right now. No person that's ever gotten a business to $1 million has done that without some form of coaching, mentorship, training, something. That just, we all know, everybody in my market, we all know we're hiring coaches. I was just telling you, I just hired another mastermind coach. Yeah. So you either understand that there is a basic business premise, a rule. All businesses must invest to grow. Let's look at that. Before coaching and all that, you had a business, you would put ads in a local newspaper, right? That's investment. You would invest in somebody that's going to go around promoting it. That's investing in the business. You would invest in maybe sponsorship. You would invest in maybe, want ads. The yellow pages, right? An ad in the yellow pages. You would invest in something to promote your business, right? We all know that, right? Yep. So why all of a sudden we have something called online business, but that doesn't apply? I'm just going to have, and they, I'm just going to think, They say, oh, I just feel like I'd be a failure if I didn't figure it out myself. Why? I'm bewildered. And I think it's an excuse because really? So if you're a doctor, you're an idiot if you don't go to med school because you should have figured that out yourself. Well,
Right.
that's weird. And you want to play piano really well, but you're just going to figure that out yourself because you're an idiot to hire a piano teacher, or you know what I mean? Like, where does that come from? It's so annoying to me because it's so frustrating. And, I'm just going to figure this out myself and I'm great. So either there's so much fear underlying that it will not work. So I'm just going to dip my toes in because it's not going to work anyway. Mindset problems. Or they're just not aware and very, very cheap. And they just think, well, why should I pay that person? They don't see the value in, like, if somebody says, hey, I know how to do this. I'll say, hey, can I pay you some money so you coach me on that? Well, I'm not a coach. I don't care. Just tell me what you did. Can I pay you? Well, oh, you don't have to. No, let me pay you because I want you to, but I don't care if you're not a coaching program. You know something I don't know, and I would like to know it. So can I just somehow get that somehow? And if it means me paying you for mentorship or coaching, I will do that. So let's do this thing. And and then they go, okay, sure. But I don't care if you're not a coach. So this whole thing of, coaching style, nobody cares. Just you're not treating people badly. So you're not treating people badly and they're getting the information. The other thing that drives me nuts is it's all within you. That's not true. It's not true. It's not all within me. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So, hey, Jean, it's all within you. Really? Because I don't know how to run YouTube ads. It's all within, really? And Jean, it's all within me. I don't know how to, it's like, the doctor thing. It's all within you. Well, then I don't want a doctor that thinks it's all within him to cut me open and do surgery. Stay away from me, So this thing of the coaching, the whole ICF coaching, no offense, I'm going there, but it's all within them. You just need to ask the right questions. No, you don't. People would do that with me. I'm like, no, seriously, it's not all within me. Just tell me what you do because I'm completely ignorant and I need you to tell me, go do that. Because seriously, I can't figure out something I don't know. So I find that really inane, like really ridiculous, right?
I remember reading some of John Maxwell, who's a big name in the coaching leadership development space. I remember him talking about when he first got started, he reached out to a handful of leaders that he really, really looked up to. And he offered to pay for their time, and this is back when I think he was still in ministerial work. But he was like, I know you're so much better at these things that I'm working at. And not that he had a lot of money to pay them, but like he just realized how much more value he'd get from them than just trying to figure this out on himself, right? Just that little bit of knowledge that exists outside of you, like you said, that isn't innately in you. It's actually in other people because they've already done it.
Called experience. You know how to do that. I don't. Please show me. Like it's that simple. Yeah. And I don't understand why this is so hard for people to grasp. It's just mind-boggling. But I don't think they really believe that. I think they really just don't want to invest. Or they go, oh my gosh, I invested so much. And I'm thinking, oh, it's probably like me, 150K, whatever. And, 100 ads lost and then 3 other bad programs. Now I've lost a lot of money, but I don't care because I've made some. But, you win some, you lose some, right? And I go, really, how much? Yeah, I paid for that program. It was $1,500. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's it. You're right. It's a very low risk tolerance.
Yeah. Tell us about like a really, really great experience. Like give us a case study example of this, of where something went very, very well when someone brought you on and was like, hey, all right, this is what I've been doing. I'm really, really ready to level up here, and kind of what that meant for them. Okay,
we have a current, this is great. It's a current client. So it's a CCC, current client, Katie. All right. Current client came in, lots of C's there. Current client came in and she got a quick certification, which I won't mention what it is, but I don't think it's great. And they were supposed to help get clients and they never do. And she's like, John, I spent so much money on that. My husband's like, I got to get a job. I don't want to get a job. I just want to be a coach. Help me. We have gotten her to I just spoke with her yesterday, $398,000 worth of clients in 5 months. She was at 396 in 4.5 months. Why? We just showed her how to do it right. And she said, wow, I thought I was doing this right, and I'm doing like all the actions wrong. So I would have just said, oh, LinkedIn doesn't work if I didn't work with you. And she said, I was going to have to go get a job. And now she said, I have to pinch myself. I was thinking, even if you got me to 100K, it would be a miracle this year. So
Yeah.
was serious, bet on herself, and just took notes. She watched everything, and she said, I watch everything twice. I take notes. I review it. I practice it. Just a good student, because she's all in on herself, and she's taking responsibility for her actions. And of course, we're coaching a lot, but I can't go do everything for people. Like, right? So that's
Yeah.
a great partnership. High success just does the work. I said, how did you do this? She goes, I just did everything you said. It's that simple.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay, wrapping up here. If you could go back in time and give your past younger self going through the struggle as a solo parent, one piece of advice, like one thing that could have helped you, what would that be?
I wish that I had gotten the right help earlier. The one regret is that I chose the wrong coach. The coach that said, oh, I don't want to turn up on video. And I should have faced my fear of getting online. I should have just gotten on. I should have just said, no, I'm getting online. So I would say, if something's scaring you, go for it. Dig deep, because that's going to save a lot of time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's like the getting outside your growth is outside of your comfort zone, right? Like if you avoid those things that really worried you, that's probably why you're short.
Right. But I have a different way of looking at that nobody looks at. It is not a comfort zone. There is no comfort in not. That's the worst thing in the world. You've done studies. Most human beings just want to be fulfilled. When you're not fulfilled, it is not comfort. Again, it's under the surface. It's a familiar zone, which is a horrible familiar zone.
Okay.
Kind of like Stockholm syndrome. It's not comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? Stockholm syndrome is a comfort zone. No, it's a familiar zone, but nobody would say that Stockholm syndrome is a comfort zone. It's just familiar. That's what I see.
True.
The so-called comfort zone is actually Stockholm syndrome, familiar, but not good.
That's a good distinction.
It's a great way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, Zan, thanks so much for joining us today. It has been a lot of fun having you on the show. I think you've got some amazing experience. Thanks for sharing that with us and kind of walking through that with us. But
for sure.
Tell our listeners how they can get in touch with you and what's your preferred method of connection there.
They can reach out on LinkedIn. I usually see those messages. Or they can go to my website, which is Zan, JeanneOmlor.com. And there's a bunch, like hundreds of client results on there, and they can always book a call if they wish there, if they want.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll get those linked here in the show notes as well. And thanks again for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you on the show today, and we hope that you have a spectacular rest of your week ahead.
Well, thank you, both of you too. Thanks for having me on.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks so much.